he picked the wrong family, and not scared of a conflict, and we're not scared. We're not running. We're coming at him.
Hey guys, it's Frankie. Welcome to the Think Tank. So this video is going to be on Lori Vallow. Pretty much with this case, a coverage has to be done almost daily with what happens and what goes through that court. So today it was Lori's oldest son, Colby, that took the stand. So I want to talk about him a little bit. Her comment, "Oh my baby," the phone call, and all the lies that this woman tells. Oh my God. So we're going to start here with the insider. And it's saying when Colby Ryan entered the Boise, Idaho courtroom where she was on trial, Lori Vallow mouthed, "Oh my baby," because I was going to fix things. Lori Vallow and her husband, Chad Daybell, have both been charged with multiple counts of conspiracy, MURDER, grand theft in connection with the deaths of Lori Vallow's two youngest children, JJ, who was 7, and Tylee, who was 16. They're also being charged in connection with the death of Tammy Daybell. So saying that there is quite the gasps when Colby came into the court and took the stand. He's 27 years old now, and it was rough for him. There was tears. Even she dabbed her eyes a little bit. Jasmine, no. So he had to identify photos of both JJ and Tylee, and he spoke briefly to Tylee just before her 17th birthday. So the last picture we do have of Tylee is that one standing in the national forest with her uncle Alan. There was her and JJ with him in the back. So he told the jury about different conversations that he had with his mother about life insurance policies and 2 of her dead husbands. He also testified at some point after his little sister Tylee had stopped responding to him that he began receiving messages that didn't sound like she had written them. You know how we all do our own way of typing? You can pretty much recognize the difference between a family or a friend versus somebody else. We've all basically, it's just like handwriting. We've all got our own unique style. So he told the jury that on July 11th, 2019, that Lori told him that her 4th husband, Charles Vallow, had died from a heart attack. And we do know that that is not even close to the fact. So it wasn't until he went to his mother's home in the Phoenix area that his uncle Cox told him a completely different story. He testified that his uncle, who wore a white badge, told him, "I had got hit in the head with a baseball bat and had to shoot Charles Vallow." All right, He also testified about discussions he had with his mother about those life insurance policies. Charles was smart. He changed his. So she, as far as I'm concerned, did know that this attack was going to happen. And I think she thought she was going to be $1 million richer. But no, his sister was. So let's see here. Ryan testified that Tylee had been the recipient of the life insurance from Joe Ryan. So that's her biological father. And he also said that occasionally Tylee, well, what they're saying is that Lori would send him money using Tylee's Venmo. Not quite sure how that worked. The last time they spoke by phone was September 8th, 2019. And prosecutors are saying that that is basically the last time that there is proof of Tylee actually being alive. So one thing Tylee said that was most bizarre, she said that she is no longer in control of her money, but that his mother, Lori, was now handling it. He also testified that he attempted to call his sister via FaceTime throughout the fall of 2019 and that she had never answered. And that's when he started to receive text messages from her number written in, this is a good way to put it, written in a different voice that did not sound like her. He said, texts I received back in a different language than she and I had used. That makes total sense. He testified that Lori told him that she intended to remarry, but would not say to who. Ugh. She said she had moved from the Phoenix area to a new location, but she would not tell her son where. She told me she was moving somewhere cold, and it was dangerous for her to tell anybody where she was. And that's when they moved to Rexburg, Idaho, and went there to be with her fifth husband, Chad Daybell. So there is an awesome Netflix series on this case, and it is very well worth watching. I think it's called The Sins of the Mother, something along those lines. Check it out. So let's see here. He has spoken out repeatedly about his mother since her arrest. He has accused her of lying to him for a very long time, including the fact that his stepfather, Charles Vallow, had passed away from that heart attack after she knew, obviously, that he had been shot. He also said that he believed she would have died for her two younger children and that he was shocked to find out she was a suspect in their disappearance. He was shocked because they're saying before she ended up with that nut case, Chad, that she really was a very good and caring mother. So who manipulated who? I don't know, guys. In my mind, I'm still looking at her. I mean, it's my opinion. So Tylee and JJ know what happened. Daybell sells son in a phone call after their bodies were found. And she did. Colby Ryan confronted his mother, Lori Vallow Daybell, in a phone call shortly after the bodies of his younger siblings were found and accused her of unaliving them. I've prayed for you in my worst moments. I've prayed for my siblings. I thought I could trust you. I thought that you were a completely different person. He told her in a recorded phone call, played in court today. His mother told him that she did not harm the children and told him, I'm sorry that you feel that way. She told her son that she didn't know what happened that day, and neither did the police, but said, JJ and Tylee know. Oh my God, you BIOCH, biatch. He said Daybell told him that one day he'll know what happened, but she would not tell him then. How can you not feel completely empathetic to this guy? I mean, he has lost everything. Stepfather, mother, his siblings, the families that came along with having parents. He has lost everything. It's very lucky for him that he has managed to find, not managed, he found himself his bride when he was fairly young. They seem to have like the best possible relationship. He does have a young daughter, and that young man will constantly be in my thoughts and prayers. Okay, here. So Lori said in that phone call that the whole world judges her, but they don't understand. Probably because she's some kind of unreal goddess or something. Oh, here we go. Both the mother and son pulled religion into the conversation, with Lori indicating that God and Jesus Christ have been on her side. Uh-huh. One day we all stand there with Jesus, and you will know the truth of everything, she told him. So she's on trial for conspiracy, and we know all of those charges. And we know that he is also charged in a separate trial. We also know that the death penalty has been taken off the case for her, but it is still part of Chad Daybell's charges and punishments. So he said that he did not know where his mother, half-brother, half-sister had gone when his family moved to Rexburg, Idaho. He said his mother told him it was dangerous to tell people where she was moving. Dangerous for who, Lori? In the recorded phone call, he accused her of lying to him numerous times to know that they're, oh, I was worried about this guy. Damn. Sorry, guys. She's going to get in there with her conversation. She is not going to go on any kind of recording or live without being noticed. So let's see here. In the recorded phone call, he accused her of lying, to know that they're gone and you knew, and my phone's being texted by my little sister who's not even alive. Oh my God. Jasmine, don't worry about it. So he testified that he had concerns about Tylee even before Gilbert, Arizona police contacted him on November 27th, 2019, asking where they were. He said he had a few conversations over text with his half-sister, but the texts really did seem to be different than her usual way of using text messages and the punctuation. Like we were just talking about, we've all got our own style, right? So check out Nate Eaton. He is probably one of the better places to learn about this trial. He is in the courtroom. He basically gives a minute-by-minute update, and he has been following this trial basically from the beginning. So I do recommend that if you want to learn the deep, dark, and write down, that would be the place to check out. So Daybell said she was in the hospital for hundreds of days with Tylee and was the person who took care of JJ. But Ryan responded. So his last name, just so there's not confusion, his father was a Ryan. So his last name is Ryan. So to throw it all in the garbage, she said. Ryan testified Tuesday that his mother called him on the day Charles Vallow was shot and killed and told him that his stepfather of 15 years had died from a heart attack. Like, they can't even keep the basics above board. No wonder he does not trust her. And what a sad thing that he was raised by who he figured was one mother, and then she hooks up and starts getting into this shit with Chad Daybell, and between the two of them, there is a massive change. So he's saying that Alex Cox, now it was his story, that he got hit in the head with a bat. So he shot Charles Vallow in self-defense. He said he found his mom had described her demeanor as calm. And she was, when we see that, what is it called? The recordings from the police, she was very calm. And sadly, Tylee was in the background pacing. So we also know that Zulema was on the stand for a short time, and she gave most of her distractions, information on Friday. And that's when she basically said that Al had said the night before he passed away that he was going to be their fall guy. She testified that Chad and Lori made her feel special and chosen. And obviously that did change. She said, I really, really trusted these people. So let's see here. Okay. Want to make sure that we get everything that basically, well, as much as we can of what came out today. So let's check this out. This we're only going to listen to. Okay.
For weeks here, maybe 10 weeks, we saw prosecutors come out and lay out very clearly that they believe that ICKEDMEL was killed by somebody else, making the case against Lori Vallow.
Yeah, most of the time I try to give you a prosecution and defense even-handed scenario so you can figure out which arguments.
Sometimes I'm finding with this case that's very hard to do, sadly.
You want to follow. This is not one of those cases. I've reviewed the affidavit of probable cause back when they were still looking when they were only charging the defendants with child endangerment, not child endangerment, but abandoning the children.
Right.
And this is what we call in defense land a dead bang loser. The only reason to take this case to trial is probably because the clients are insisting on it for whatever reason, because otherwise this is a case based on the alleged facts, if they're true, that you do everything you can to try to secure a plea deal, or the stakes are so high and the prison sentences are so long, there's no reason not to go to trial. That could be another reason to go to trial because there's simply no other option, and even a plea deal just isn't appetizing enough.
Yeah. The media piece of this is really interesting here as we're showing some sketches from court, because this case got so much attention when it was developing here. Has that played into the case so far?
Media attention can always play into a case, and all things being equal, I suppose the needle bends slightly towards preferring not to have a high-profile case as opposed to having a case that nobody's heard of. So generally speaking, high media attention can be bad for a defendant, but it can also be bad for the prosecution too. It injects a bit of the unknown into a case because you have a jury pool and you simply don't know how much the jury pool has heard about the case, or even if you have what's called a stealth juror, perhaps a juror that is against the defendant, has heard about the defendant, and will say whatever they need to get onto the jury, but secretly or stealthily plan to convict. That's something that defense attorneys are frequently afraid of.
Total sense that makes to me. So let's check this out. So let's see here. This again. Let's watch and see what they have to say here.
Called Doomsday Mom, Lori Vallow, shares insight as the murder trial continues.
And Vallow is accused of killing her 2 kids who used to live in Arizona, and she's also facing murder conspiracy in the death of her husband's previous wife. Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum reports.
Lori Vallow is seen here as a bridesmaid for her cousin Megan's wedding. It was 1995. Lori was 21 and living in Texas. Now, nearly 3 years later, Megan Iden speaks about her cousin's triple murder trial.
Someone you loved could face life in prison.
Yeah, it's been really difficult, I think, for everybody who is a family member to have watched this all kind of unfold in front of us. And it's a really difficult thing to come to grips with, that somebody that you cared about and loved and, you know, still do care about is capable of this level of horror.
Lori is accused
I
of killing her
can't
two
imagine.
children, JJ and Tylee, after moving them from Chandler, Arizona to Rexburg, Idaho in 2019. Prosecutors say Lori and her husband, Chad Daybell, justified the murders with extreme religious beliefs connected to the end of days. Megan says even years ago, Lori spoke about what it would be like to raise a family after Jesus Christ returned.
It's another thing to talk openly about wanting to drive your kids off a cliff and just drive everybody off a cliff and just go to heaven now.
Long before Lori made national headlines, she was known as a doting mother.
That was always true.
You know, that's the thing. She had raving reviews at one point as a mother, so much so that family allowed her and her now deceased husband to take over the responsibilities of Ryan.
Unless you disagreed with her and unless you got on her bad side. And if you got on her bad
Why did I say Ryan?
side, she could be vicious.
Investigators say Lori and Chad taught followers a rubric assessing light and dark spirits and how to rid the world of zombies. Fox 10 reported on the document sent to Lori from Chad, grading her own family members.
So one thing I want to say about this, I don't know if they're going to bring it up or not, but not only were Tylee and JJ considered dark souls, but if you look here, Colby Ryan, 3 light, Kelsey Ryan, 3 dark, and first husband, 2 light. Okay, where did I see? Joseph Ryan was a 4.3, which is very interesting. Tylee Ryan, a 4.1. And for a while, Charles Vallow was living in the light zone.
And I found out about the list that Chad had that listed family members who were light and dark. I literally went out and put a security system on my home and contacted my family members and told them not to have anything to do with them. You know, I said, if these people reach out to you, please don't talk to them. I was scared for my safety. I was scared for the safety of my kids.
Megan says a mitigation specialist with the defense interviewed her about Lori's background when this was a capital case, but the death penalty is now off the table. In early 2020, when Lori's kids were missing, Megan says she had little hope they would be found safe.
When they were finally found, it was, again, not surprising, but horrifying.
A horrifying discovery of the children dead in Daybell's backyard. I'm Justin Lum for Fox 10 Investigates.
Unreal. So part of her, Lori, she was saying part of her, how would you put it? I guess it would be her alibi, is that she was in the same apartment building as her brother Alex, different suites, when Alex unalived these 2 kids. So if that's the case, how is Chad Daybell going to explain having those kids on that property with Elle's, with Elle's phone pinging exactly where these kids were found on that property? To me, that is very much looking like, sit down, very much looking like the 2 of them did this to these kids. Not one of them, 2 of them. I don't know any other way that Tylee could possibly be restrained unless, you see, we don't get a cause of death with her. we've got, they're saying asphyxiation for JJ, which is scarier than shit when you know how he was found. But in my mind, this could have been the both of them that did this. So yes, they believe that the kids were zombies and that Jazzy, and that they were called to lead 144,000 followers into the end of the world and into the second coming of Christ, and that they were the prophets that were going to help them. According to her alleged beliefs, the only way for some people to lose their dark spiritual attachments was through spiritual castings or their death. Oh my God. So on that phone call, I do believe, let's see here. This one here is between Vallow and Chad. And it goes something like this. Can you hear me? Do you want to talk to me? Vallow Daybell can be heard asking, according to the report, that cops took just months before the investigators discovered the remains of both children on Chad Daybell's property. Do you think you can hide from me? Ryan asked. When his mother says, I didn't want to speak to her. Probably, let's see here. When his mother says that he didn't want to speak to her, he responded, probably because you unalived my siblings. He still, by the way, from reports today, did not make eye contact with her. He said, I've prayed for you in my worst moments. I've prayed for my siblings. You swore to me you were okay. I thought I could trust you and thought you were a completely different person. I do not know a murderous mother. It kills me to watch you take the victim's route and say this shouldn't have happened to you when you are telling me that Chad Daybell came into your life all of a sudden and everything changes. You lied to me, specifically to me, more times than I can count on this, to know that they're going to, let's see here, that they're gone and you knew, and my phone's being texted by my little sister who was not even alive. My little brother, who was the sweetest little kid ever. So she reportedly laughed, as her son says, and says to her son, Jesus would not judge her. She goes on to say to him that, and the world can judge her. JJ and Tylee, she say, love me, and they are fine, and they know the truth, and we are the only people that do. Oh my God. No matter how mad I am at you, no matter how bad I want to hit your husband in the face with a shovel, I pray for you. I pray for him. So it says that he allegedly began to shout in the jail call as he described how the kids were found buried in your new husband's backyard. She goes on to tell her son that the truth will ultimately be revealed. And you were right, bang on. The truth is being revealed, you twisted old bag. My own mom, my siblings, my whole family, my dad, everyone is gone except my mom, and you're in jail because of it. Why are you following Chad down the rabbit hole? Why would you follow anyone who is not good? You can't lie to me anymore. You cannot hide anymore. I pray every day, no matter how mad I am at you, no matter how bad I want to hit him in the face with a shovel, I pray for you. I pray for him. Earlier, it says he began crying as he identified his siblings in a photo shown by prosecutor Rob Wood. He told the court he could not locate or contact his phone. Let's see. He could not locate or contact his phone after police notified him in November 2019 about the search for his younger siblings. She just told me she was moving somewhere cold and it was dangerous for her to tell anybody. At that time, they're saying that it's possible that Lori actually appeared to wipe her eyes during her son's testimony. In addition to Tylee and JJ's unaliving, they have, as we know, linked them to Tammy Daybell's unaliving. And we also know that something is moving as far as Charles Vallow. Oh, and there we go. Vallow Daybell is charged with first-degree conspiracy and the unaliving grand theft and has been indicted on the death of her estranged husband. She was messing around with this gross guy before divorce. That's not very Bible of you. So we do know after she was arrested, Lori spent 9 months in a mental health hospital before she was deemed fit for trial. So I would expect that that could interfere with any kind of defense as far as her mental status. I guess I wouldn't say that day that things happened, but I don't know. I don't think she's mentally handicapped. I think she is literally evil to the core. They unalived 2 kids, in my opinion. Their consequences should be to the extreme. Nothing about this is okay. So that's where we're at with Lori Vallow right now. I've spent the afternoon kind of watching them and Letitia's case, which I'll be streaming first thing in the morning again, 8:50 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So join us then. Hit that notification bell for these updates. As you can see, they come on pretty random. So friends, I'm going to hit the road and I will see you in the next one. Bye.